Okay, so on the flip side, there's what we would say is a normative grammar of what it means for an individual to talk about themselves. And in the talking about themselves, they are going to always be able to draw from the milieu of their experiences and their sensations, memories and insight, their mental choreography, their mental orchestra, that no one else is privy to be able to draw from that particular carcass's experience any more so than I can relate to my modem and what that modem is going through. But it is in the normative structure of the grammar that each individual has that is interacting publicly, that is also public, meaning we all have it, but we all speak about it in this and this manner. So, what is it about the way in which we discuss I? Now, there's the whole use thing where, well, this is the way I use it, but if you were a castaway on an island once again, and you didn't have any means of verifying what it is you knew about yourself, then if you started to make a mistake and you had no verification, you had no other language, you had no text, you had no media, you had no feedback, you could mistake something. You could think something different and you would have no test, no gauge, no temperature as to whether or not what it is you're saying is meaningful or knowledgeable. And by meaningful or knowledgeable, once again, I'm referring to that which is public. Now, the sign is it's an artifact, meaning when I'm done speaking, I'm done speaking. You can take it and reverberate it and take it to school next week if you want. It doesn't matter to me. But the point is it's done when it's done. It's done when one is done taking it. But some people will contend that meaning comes from the individual instead of the meaning is taught to us in process. This is how we process what it is we see a sign to be. And then this is what the sign I means. I means a process of behavior, but I also refers to the draw of one's experience. So if one has a sign, which is just dead, it's a dead artifact. I mean, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's there to hear it, did it make a sound? Well, the same thing. If there's a stop sign in the woods and there's no one there to see it, is it signifying anything? So a sign, like I see cats and dogs walk by things that I get stunned at and I have to look at because there's words on it and it means something to me. So the sign is not by itself anything other than a articulation of color and sound with some intent behind it, and that we learn through looking at this these particular shapes that a particular articulation, mode of impression, text, sound, that these things we are supposed to look at and draw meaning from. But there's other people. You could talk to them and they don't hear you, meaning they may hear you, but they're not listening. So did the sign have meaning to those who are not listening? Well, I guess not. Meaning they have to focus on it. They have to believe that they're the ones to hear it. They have to engage the sign as much as the sign has to be there. But someone might see a rock, and that rock, just by its nature, without a carving in the rock or any manipulation, any synthetic aspect of it at all, still might look like something to somebody. Well, why would a rock look like something to somebody? Well, we could say this is natural because they mistook the rock for something naturally. Or we could say because we learn to look at signs as if we need to draw something from them. So someone might draw an O on the chalkboard, and I'm going to extract the O from it, and they're going to tell me, no, that's a zero. And then they'll draw a line through it or something. So the point is that the artifact of the language is dead. Meaning there's things behind me. I'm certain there's words behind my head that you can't see. And here, for example, are some texts on a can, right? And you can't see them, and maybe you can blow this up. But the point is I didn't see them. And so I can suspect what they are from my previous experience, but I'm not drawing meaning from them. Meaning I could say, one could look at a sign and say, I need to know the context, all the context I've ever learned, everything about words, not everything, but I need to have a context in order to make sense of the words. And that has to come at the same time that I'm seeing the word and making a first play into saying that artifact, that dead scratch, that thing over there, that hieroglyph that I hiked to and finally saw, that thing represents, that thing conveys, that thing does. But in the conveying, that's something that the individual is doing as an individual within the language. That's not conveying anything. If no one ever sees the stop sign, that stop sign is not gleaning stop to God or to Plato or to anyone else. It takes an exchange. And an animal walks by, it's not going to mean anything to the animal. The animal doesn't convey anything. It hasn't been taught to look at it as if to extract from it a conveyance from a sign and find out what it signified to. Find out what humanity, what normative values have traditionally, conventionally moved that sign to, which I have inherited so that I know now that stop means stand still. So if I see stop in someone's house, I might stop, thinking maybe it makes sense. Or maybe I'll just look at the red, or maybe I'll go, oh, it's a cool sign. And on a road, maybe I'll run it, maybe I won't see it, maybe I'll see it, and if I see it, then I'm saying, oh, well, this is its natural environment, meaning it's its conventional environment. But the whole notion that the sign means something, the sign and that which it signifies are connected. Now that is itself a process of grammar that we've inherited, just like watching our teachers go, okay, now S and A and V, and it's the modality, it's the methodology in which we inherit the grammar. That's how we see that what a sign means, it signifies. Meaning, for example, this thing is a word. This whole thing is like a paragraph to us. But what does that mean? Meaning, one might say, oh, we're not supposed to read this down here. We're just supposed to read these right here. But all of this is one thing. It's one artifact. It's one evidencing. And so we're supposed to be able to extrapolate that the Birdman has this orb of the sun, and that this guy's phallus is pointing to the feet of this other one, and to come up to some meaning. And in this, he is the God, and he is the practitioner of the language over here, or the subtleties of who is holding the water, who is passing the water. What does it mean for these two dishes to be here and these two dishes to be here? And we're mixed in speculation as to what a symbol was, because we don't know how to move in this. But I wouldn't deny that whoever wrote it has not only a sense of what it is that their culture was like, and a sense of how it is they were supposed to read the symbols. I'll say that, even though it was unique to the scribes, it was put out publicly so that it could be interpreted by either other scribes, people in the know. What does it mean to be in the know? Or it was meant to be seen and understood, or seen and read by other individuals. And so as far as the intent behind it, I'm not going to deny that there was intent behind it. I'm just going to deny that I know how to read it. But I know English, so I know the living language. And so I know how to extrapolate, and I know what it means to have a setting of my grammar in which to extrapolate that, as opposed to just saying, I don't know, I'm not in touch with it. I am in touch with it.